Good morning, folks. You're tuned into Car Connection, where the coffee's hot, the tools are ready, and the talk is always tuned up. I'm your host, Niall Motormouth Jenkins, coming to you straight from the Car Connection workshop, where we mix a little humor, a little know-how, and a whole lot of horsepower. Here it's not just about fixing cars, it's about keeping you rolling, saving you money, and giving you the confidence to understand what's under that hood. From the classics to the commuters to the weird noises to the what the heck moments, we've got you covered. So grab your coffee, sit back, join the crew, because this is Car Connection, your Monday through Saturday morning pit stop for stories, smarts, a few good laughs. And I'm Niall Motormouth Jenkins, and we are shifting into drive this morning. Well, good Monday morning to you if you are commuting this morning and heading out to the job, to your job, and sliding through the drive-through to get yourself some super octane boost. Great. Check your order, lock it down in your cup holder, because you're tuned to Car Connection. We have a lot of mileage to cover in a short time to get there. Thank you for allowing me into your world as I allow you into ours as well. So let's jump in right away this morning. Car Connections brought to you by Crystal Ridge Dream Center. In times when community support is crucial, Crystal Ridge Dream Center shines as a beacon of compassion and transformation, serving hot meals out the door every Tuesday and Friday. They have programs running for the kids after school, helping them with homework and music lessons, games, and lots of love to help keep their little minds stimulated. They look after men, women, and children, all age groups. Thank you to City Auto Sales and Leasing, the Greater Toronto Area's pre-owned premier auto store. Earl and Louise Grant have been in the business for over 25 years. They've got the resources to find low mileage, top quality vehicles at fair prices. They don't sell any junk. So if you or someone you know is looking to buy a vehicle this time of year, people do start to say, I'm not going to do a whole lot to the older vehicle. I'll get a replacement in the spring. There's only one place I would recommend that you go, and that's City Auto Sales and Leasing. They have in-house financing, and you can buy with confidence and be treated with nothing less than honesty and integrity. Thank you to our certified financial planning professionals, Tony Mielly and Larry Tetro, my brothers from other mothers. Combined have 50 years experience as fiduciaries. They both work with IG Wealth Management, and they are well-decorated, certified financial planning professionals. There's nothing you're going to tell them they have not heard before, and they have opened up their hearts to donate 1 hour of time for a discovery meeting. So if you've got questions, you need to get them from a certified financial planner, not an advisor, and I'm not disrespecting advisors. You need to make sure that when you're talking about investments, debt retirement, estate planning, mortgages, life insurance, critical illness insurance, and more, you want to know that you're sitting with someone who has the credentials certified financial planner. You get a 1 hour discovery meeting that we've called an hour and a coffee since 2007. Both Larry and Tony want to be a part of Car Connection, and I thought the best way they could help is if you have questions about finances, no matter what it is, take advantage of that 1 hour. Be open and honest with them, and please don't waste their time. If you're not interested, you're not interested. If you're ready to sit down and have someone map out a plan to get you from where you are to where you want to be, they can do it for you. Car Connection also brought to you by Niagara Block at 5000 Montrose Road in Niagara Falls, building Canada since 1931, providing all kinds of building supplies and materials, as well as hardscape, landscaping materials as well. They do have a list of contractors that they can refer you to take on that job, whether it's big or small. So get in touch with them at Niagara Block, 5000 Montrose Road, Niagara Falls. If you're looking to create that backyard space for 2026, where you can hang out and just be, get in touch with them now. Thank you to Total Freedom Darien Center, New York, our addiction campuses for both Canada and USA. For those who are struggling with addiction, we're in your corner. Each time you buy some merchandise from our online store, you're joining the Car Connection Motormouth crew in the battle against addiction to wipe it out. So for those who made that decision that today's the day, I'm sick and tired, fed up, disgusted, and bored being stuck in this addiction, we're here to also help, to give you some support and make sure that we can get you to a Total Freedom Addiction campus, either Canada or USA, where a new life waits for you there. Well, let's jump into our day together. We're starting a brand new week. Easter is coming this weekend. Actually, I think it begins on Good Friday, absolutely, for many. Well, we have weather, and it's not cooperating. I have to say that. That's from my heart. It's not cooperating. It's just not doing what I really need it to do right now in order to get more things taken care of. But I guess when I get my own planet, then I can make some changes. But for now, this morning's weather report brought to us by Niagara Block, 5000 Montrose Road, Niagara Falls. Here's what we get, folks, so hang on, and we'll have a swiggy together. If you're just joining us for the first time, we love our first-time visitors, and we always have a morning swiggy together. We count it down and then enjoy whatever your favorite morning beverage is. Well, today, here's what we can expect. 38 degrees right now, and that's Fahrenheit. For most of you that may be joining us for the first time, I'm not a fan of the metric system. It's a tool of the devil. Cost me a ton of money. 38 degrees now, mostly cloudy. The wind is making it feel a whole lot colder at about 33. Partly cloudy conditions from 11 a.m. till 12 p.m. with drizzle expected around 6 p.m. So this evening could get a bit sloppy loose. Today's temperature range will be from 35 to 56. Ding, ding, ding. I like that. And feels like 32 to 47. Anything on the precip? Ooh, possibility, it says. 0.65 of an inch. That's all I got to say about that. At least it's not the white stuff. We had some of that last week. It was kicking around. It was out there, the South Shores of Lake Erie. Absolutely. Well, let's count down our swiggy together this morning. Are you ready for it? I've got my morning elixir here that keeps me going, charges my battery. Then I have my coffee. Yeah, it has something to do with cortisol. You can look that up. Yeah, that's why you get the pork belly, or things get a little rotunda around the middle if you're not keeping an eye on your cortisol levels. Apparently, it's complicated. Can't we just plug into a machine and it says, you're fat, lose 30 pounds? Like, give you a real answer. Yeah. Do you think I look fat in this dress? Is that the time? Excuse me. All right, let's count this down before we get going spinning in the wrong direction on a Monday morning, and that can happen. Ready? 3, 2, 1. It is good, I gotta admit. It's definitely doing stuff. So as long as it's getting stuff done and I'm able to keep up my pace of 80 hours a week, we're good. That means everything's working. All right, let's get your week started. And just remember, it is Monday and it is early. And, you may not be around those people that can mess up your Monday. Don't let them do that. Make it a super great day. Well, what are we talking about today? Did you hear that? I did that. Listen. Yeah, I'm sawing the piano in half with a hacksaw blade that's about 400 years old. Not really. We had some great questions on Saturday. I hope you had an opportunity to join us. If not, the podcast is up on our iHeart channel, and also all the podcasts are now available to you on our YouTube channel to help you shop in one area. So Our website is the biggest drawer in our toolbox, and we've created that way for 32 years now. As you know, when there's too many choices, it's difficult to make a decision. True or false? Well, I'll give you an example. If you're thinking of waxing your car, just head to the store with the little red triangle. Take your toothbrush, a sleeping bag, and a mat to lay on, and your jammies, because you will be overwhelmed by packaging, and more packaging, and bottles from ceiling to floor, and as far as the naked eye can see, that would be the shelf that has buffing compounds, polishing compounds, wax, and the like. You're going to be there for a while. It's too much choice. Really. So, that's not what I wanted to create for you, is confusion. So, our website, you want to talk to me, you want to send me a question or a possible topic for me to unpack for you, that's done through our website. You can email me just by clicking on the info button and click on contact and fill out the email form, and it comes directly to my eyes only. You can also email me through stevensvilleontheweb.ca. Click on the businesses tab. There is also an email form there as well. Making it even easier for you, in the description boxes of our YouTube videos, we have almost 200 videos up. We're shooting today. Skippy will be here in a few hours, and we'll be shooting suspension and steering today. I wasn't going to do that, but I'll explain more in just a moment. Yes, absolutely. I'm a little beat up. That's all I'm going to tell you. All our links are available for you on the homepage of our website. Top right-hand corner, you'll have our YouTube channel. Get yourself subscribed, because you're going to be learning a lot of information about the 5 things: what it is, where it is, how it works, how it breaks, and how you could have saved yourself thousands of dollars each and every year in unnecessary repairs, and spend that money elsewhere keeping the maintenance up. Number 2, I keep it super simple, breaking things down into easy to understand language so that you can better know your automobile and take in some of the basic fundamentals of vehicle ownership and maintenance, service, and repair. Whatever age group, no excuses. My pops is 89. He manages his own vehicle maintenance. He texts. He uses the technology. I don't think he shops as much on Temu anymore, which is probably a good thing. I don't know. So if my pops can do it, you can do it. Absolutely. You can learn stuff. Even if you're a widow, you can learn stuff. Even if you're a single mom, you can learn stuff from our YouTube channel. There's almost 200 videos there where I keep it super simple and break things down, talk about the components, where they are, how they work, and how you need to make sure those items get serviced on a regular basis. Also on our homepage, you'll find logos for all the businesses that are supporting us right now as we grow into Car Connection 2.0, now with more ways for you to watch, listen, and engage. Please consider giving them your business, because they're helping us to pay the bills to keep us on this podcast and keep our YouTube channel going. The little things that you can do to help us to grow, keep the ignition on and keep the cylinders firing and the engine running smoothly: like, share, follow, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that's coming out. And also follow us. Be part of our community online at Facebook, Instagram, Stevensvilleontheweb.ca, and help our crew in the battle against addiction for all age groups. When you buy merchandise from our online store safely, you can order what you like, pick the color, pick the size, and know that you're joining our crew in the battle against addiction, getting those who are ready to deal with it to a Total Freedom Addiction Campus in Canada, USA, where a new life waits for them there. So that's us in a nutshell. So if you want to connect and get a question answered, because Saturdays are Q&A. So I'm priming the pump early, because I'll tell you, the questions are flooding in, and I pick 3. That's about all I have time for if I'm breaking the question down into bite-sized pieces for you, not just giving a yes-no answer, but actually giving you an answer and unpacking it so you understand why the answer I gave you fits the question. So thanks to Jim and Alicia and Steve. Fantastic questions on the weekend. My goodness, I still feel like my 2 brain cells, the 2 little gray men in my head, are smoking hot still. So if you want to know what we were talking about, as I just mentioned, that podcast will have already migrated over to our YouTube channel. So, and the big thank you to all of you who are doing all those little things for Skippy and I, as we put a lot of effort in. We put 80 hours in a week to bring you all the details that can help keep you safe and provide healthy, happy motoring for you. And yes, you can own an older automobile. And I'll tell you right now, looking at all the breakdowns, all the failures out there on this new stuff, you know what? You had better take a secondary look at that older vehicle, and if the structure is solid, you better keep it, because that's better technology and better made vehicle than what we're seeing today. You know, I'm picking on the domestics, but you know what? They need a kick in the pants. Start giving us our money's worth. Yeah. And backing up your product. That would be good. Instead of, we'd really like to help you, but we can't. But will you buy our vehicle next time? A big no on that one. These things are breaking down major. 700 miles. That's the lowest one I've heard so far. And I'm going, 700 miles on the second motor? What? Are you kidding me? So we'll talk about that in a little more depth, maybe later on this week, but that's a little heavy for Monday mornings. But I'll tell you, a lot of service techs are warning their customers that have shops, older is better and more reliable. Quality cars versus affordable. Don't get caught up in the car game, folks. All right, what are we talking about this morning? My focus point is suspension and steering components. How come it is, you might say? Well, that's an area that not many of you really give a whole lot of thought to. Like right now, what you're really wanting is, your morning beverage, get your mind in order, get to work, and you know who the players are and who are the ones that can annoy you more on a Monday morning. When I was working for somebody else for many years, I always got there super early. Do you want to know why? So that I could get a cup of coffee and I could find a quiet spot, which I usually had a quiet spot, just to sip my coffee, get my mind set for the day, and know who I have to tolerate, and get that all in order in my brain, and take a deep breath and run like the wind for the whole shift. Yeah, I did that every single day. Get there early and find my spot and just sit and enjoy about a half an hour by myself, no one else around, just the quiet time and a hot cup of joe, and get ready. Get ready to perform for hours on end. Yeah. Yeah. Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses? Yeah. Anyhow, suspension and steering. Well, Skippy and I are going to be shooting some of that today, and I wasn't going to, but I'll tell you, I got this van in the service bays that's getting me so far behind. I want to scream in the middle of a cornfield, but once you let it all out, you can't put it back in. Am I right? Exactly. As I've done the one side, the worst side, and it beat me up completely. I'm telling you, if the customer was paying, it would be about 14 hours worth of labor. So here's what I'm going to say right up front. When I talk about rust proofing, the feature benefits of rust proofing, yeah, wait till you see this video. You're going to get a full picture of why I say rust proofing. So I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. You're going to need to come and watch that video, because today I've saved the passenger side. I didn't want to, but I thought, you guys really got to get a handle on what this stuff is, what it looks like, where it is, how it works, how it wears out, how it breaks, and what it takes to change those pieces out, called suspension and steering. So I'm going to give you a bird's eye view, hands-on. And here's the thing. Not like some other channels I watch on YouTube. They're taking the bolts out and they're showing you how to do it, and everything's coming out ever so clean and smooth. No, not Motor Mouth. I'm going to show you the blood, the guts, and the gore. What it really takes to change out a lower control arm on a Dodge Grand Caravan. And there's a ton of them out there. And it doesn't matter what make or model it is. It has a lower control arm with a ball joint in it that wears out. And I was watching a video on a guy online. It's I think the channel's called Torque. He's down in the rust-free zone, and he's just undoing the bolts, and then you just undo this, and I'm thinking, come up to Canada for a day, and I got the job just for you, buddy. You're not going to la-di-da to get all those bolts undone like nothing. There wasn't he's working on this Dodge Caravan, and there isn't a speck of rust in sight. I'm going, oh no, that doesn't happen up here in the northern country, or even in some places in the U.S. like Maine, where the rust is just unbearable. I mean, makes Canada look like a choir boy as far as rust goes. So I'm going to share that with you. But right now, what I want to talk about are the components that we need to pay closer attention to. And in that video, I'm going to reference rust proofing probably every 30 seconds in my mind. Because here's the thing. If you don't think rust proofing, and you got to use the right sauce. In fact, I just did a podcast I would highly recommend. If you missed it, you need to go and listen to it. It's entitled The Secret's in the Sauce. Exactly. And today's video that we're going to shoot is going to be a prime example of how it goes when we don't believe that rust proofing is worth spending a couple of $100 on, so that you can save labor time. And I'm not going to go any further on that point, because you're going to want to watch the video, the full video. And I got a couple of shorts to post today in regards to. You're not going to want to miss those either. Those are the trailers. The trailers into the video. So I'm setting this up really good, because you've got to learn this. You've got to learn it. If you want to own an older automobile and teach it longevity, you're going to have to do this stuff. It doesn't last forever. All these components are wear and tear items. Let's get into it. Suspension and steering components. Yes, they are all a really big deal. They are. They're not just there for grins, folks. And many of you don't even pay attention to them whatsoever, because you know why? You don't understand them. You don't know what they are. You don't know where they are. And for the most part, you may not even really care. But, B-U-T-T, get your butt out of the way, they do a lot of work. And I think when you get a better understanding of what they are, where they are, and how they work, and how they all work together, and you actually see those components and get a better understanding what happens when, I like to say it, what happens when the major component fails? It gets ugly. And it gets ugly really, really fast. And the repair bill, that may be the last thing that you're going to put money into. And if it breaks the transmission housing, that's probably it. Your car's heading for the you-pull-it yard. More than likely, I'm going to say 90% of the time, when a lower ball joint breaks, it's over, folks. What do I mean by that? You're going to want to watch the video, because what I will show you is when I disconnect the ball joint, how much free play the wheel has. So when that little Hummer snaps off, because it's been worn out for quite some time, the wheel will go wherever it wants to go. You don't have any control over it. It's flapping and it's attached. Only one place. To the drive shaft, the axle shaft. So all these vehicles are front wheel drive. So you got to remember, where's the transmission? In the front. Where are the wheels driving and pulling? In the front. So everything in the front is serious, folks, because that's your drive line. When a ball joint, or it's not as bad when a tie rod breaks, bad enough because you totally lose steering. But when the ball joint breaks, it doesn't matter if you try steering, it isn't going to happen because the wheel is completely free. So we're going to show you that on the upcoming video. And again, I'm going to promote the stink out of it because you need to have a visual on the pieces that keep the wheels where they belong in the front. And I'll tell you, the potholes out there, oh my gosh, the roads are rougher than a stucco toilet seat. And all these suspension and steering components in the front, you don't even notice. You don't. You fly over those, you hit the potholes, you cruise over the roughest tracks around the planet, and you don't even think about it. You don't. You just do it. All that suspension and steering takes an absolute beating. Tie rod ends, control arm bushings get torn out, and ball joints wear out. Nothing's greasable anymore. Well, it is and it isn't. I'm going to talk about that in another podcast. For all you do-it-yourselfers, there is a method to do it, but you have to teach yourself to do it, and you got to have patience to do it, and you got to have understanding to do it. Otherwise, you'll cause more damage than good. But yes, I can grease my ungreasable tie rod ends and ball joints, and I will do that in a video to teach you how it can be done, do-it-yourselfers. But you've got to learn the technique. Otherwise, and patience, lots of patience, and you got to know what you're doing before you do it. So I'll teach you that. Next, I'm going to name off all the components that we have just on one side. And then what I mentioned is also on the opposite side. Is there wear and tear there? Yes, there is. If you got a 5-year-old domestic vehicle, I guarantee you need suspension and steering work. And mileage doesn't mean diddly squat. So let's take that off the table right now. It's the roadways you're driving on a regular basis. You know, the curbside lanes are just horrific. Yeah, I don't know where all the monies from the per liter are supposed to be going into roadways, but I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure that we got forgotten here on the South Shores of Fort Erie, because there's areas now where I will literally slow down to get out of that lane before I get to a certain area because the The suspension and steering's just getting pounded. And folks, that's what you have to understand. The manhole covers. Oh, sorry, did I hurt a feeling? Person hole covers. No, they're manhole covers. They're either too high or they're too low. Bang! That's what happens when your wheel goes in there. Bang, bang, there's another one. I can take you to a roadway here in Fort Erie where it's like crossing a freaking minefield when it comes to the sewer holes. And you really got to pay attention to keep your wheels out of those holes, because that's what's tearing the suspension out. So if you don't think it's important to get out of to slow down, keep an eye for the potholes, slow down going over those train tracks. You're not running a race. There's no checkered flag. There's no big purse at the end of the road. It's your car. And you're going to pay the purse in replacing the pieces that are broken and worn out. And to be honest with you, I don't want to be driving a vehicle when a steering component breaks. Not me. No siree. There's no maneuver you're going to be able to attempt, because the vehicle will be in control of itself. And as soon as you hit the brake pedal, it's all over. The wheel's going to fold under, and it's a nightmare. It turns into an instant. You may be looking for a new automobile after you see the price to fix everything. I'm not kidding you. I'm not here to scare you. I'm not here to sell you cars. I'm not here for the manufacturers, the parts suppliers, the parts manufacturers. I could care less. I'm here to teach you what 44 years has taught me in the service bays. In the armchair warriors, there ain't nothing you can sling at this guy. I am bulletproof. Trust me. I've been out in the field fixing trucks and equipment in the mud, in the blood, in the gore, in the minus 20, changing a transmission outside on a cab over Louisville, changing pistons out in minus 20 outside and having to dig yourself out from underneath the truck because it's snowing. Yeah, I've got some mileage and I've got the smarts, and I'm willing to share it with you. Suspension and steering and potholes and rough roads is serious, folks. It's serious. Yeah, it's serious. Exactly. Every single component, tie rod end, lower ball joint, lower control arms, the bushings. I just shot a short to show you the control arm that came out of this 2010 Dodge Grand Caravan. And I'm trying to be nice here. It's Monday. The technicians that check the vehicle, and you want to watch that video too, the prerequisite to pulling that side of the Grand Caravan apart. How they could have missed that, I have no idea. No idea. You're going to want to see the short that I put together on that. Yeah. It'll explain it 100%. I don't know how. Even as a shop owner, previous shop owner, general manager for a dealership in the shop, I don't know how a tech could miss that. Like, there's no excuse. None. Zero. Whatever. Your brain was not turned on? I don't know. But that's a safety issue. So you got to watch that video for sure on the 2010 Dodge Caravan. That's why it's important. 93% of you are enjoying the videos, but you're not even subscribed. You know how that would really change things for us? Because I really want to be able to buy the parts and provide the labor and shoot the videos. That's what I want to do for people. So we can't do it because my pockets just aren't deep enough, especially after the COVID campaign. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Yeah. So you got ball joints, lower ball joint, usually one. If it's an older vehicle with different suspension, I'm talking about McPherson strut suspension, not coil springs. We'll talk about those later because most of you are not driving a vehicle that has coil springs between the lower control arm and the frame. And that would give us upper ball joints, lower ball joints, upper control arms, lower control arms. All those components that I've just mentioned, if you don't know what they are, those are the things that stop the wheel assembly from flying off. That keeps it pretty simple. Those are the components that keep the wheels where they're supposed to be in the right geometric position, and also the ability to control the vehicle and not the vehicle controlling you. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. We have McPherson struts in there. They're like ginormous shocks with coil springs. And the coil springs tend, when the coating comes off and they start rusting, that's when the coils are going to break. Usually at the bottom pigtail, where it curls around tight at the bottom, that's usually the piece that breaks off. So all these components together, tie rod ends, you have inners and outers. Those keep the wheels, both sides, connected to the steering wheel. Either one of those breaks, an inner or an outer, then the wheel, you can't turn that wheel. It's loose. You can't control it. So whatever it does, it does. And generally, when you feel something like that go wrong, the instant reaction is to hit the brakes, but that's not a good idea. Well, you got to prevent from hitting somebody else, but that's when the wheel will fold in. And it's not pretty. It's not a pretty ride. Like I said already this morning, not a ride that I want to experience. So I'm checking suspension and steering all the time. Because two things, and I did a podcast on this already. If you can't stop it or steer it, nothing else matters. And that's it. The safety is right there. You don't cheap out on tires. You don't cheap out on brakes. You don't cheap out on suspension and steering. Those are the major components that give you controllability of your automobile, not the other way around. The tail does not, you do not want the tail wagging the dog. You want to know your vehicle is stable and that you have full control over that automobile. Again, if you can't stop it or steer it, nothing else matters. You could turn the radio up louder as you're screaming, yeah, and heading out into the rhubarb patch. But that, it might help you, but it's definitely not going to save you. So all these components, how do they wear out? We can't grease them anymore, so there's no grease fittings on them. And the roadways, that's the bottom line right there. The roads are naughty and nasty and gnarly. And when you're not paying closer attention to the road surface you're driving on, you're just pounding those potholes, the same ones every single day. I pay closer attention to that because it's my vehicle and it's my money and it's my labor, and I have to still fix it. Somebody has to fix it, and it's going to be me. It's going to be me. So it's my time and the parts and the labor all come together to fix it. So I understand all those components that make up your steering, just how easy it is for all these potholes and the rough roadways to wear them out quickly. Doesn't take 300,000 kilometers to wear out a lower ball joint or control arm or a tie rod end or a control arm bushings. They're tearing them out. That's what's happening. They're not designed. They really are not designed to take that much pounding. And that's the bottom line here. All that suspension and steering is great, but it's not designed to take that pounding every single day. They're going to wear out. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And you might say, well, I don't drive it very much. Yeah, but I'll bet you drive over the same rough, rugged roads every time you do go out. It has nothing to do, I can tell you this right now, it has nothing to do with mileage. It has nothing to do with time. It has to do with hitting that pothole, hitting those sunken in manhole covers, driving the same roads, hitting the same potholes, driving the way you do, not paying attention, and bam, you're hitting as what I call ball joint bashers. You don't think anything about it whatsoever, but I do. When I'm driving, I'm looking, because the ball joint bashers will take that lower ball joint out in no time, because it's trying to compress it and tear it apart at the same time. So when the wheel goes down, there's stress on the suspension and steering. When the wheel goes up, there's stress on other components of suspension and steering. So there's wear and tear taking place both directions. Into the pothole, out of the pothole. So up and down position. Because all those rough roads, what are they trying to do? Tear your wheels right off the car. That's what it's doing. Here's a great example. For all of you that watch auto racing, there's no potholes on the racetrack. Am I right? There's a reason for that. Because they set up their suspension and steering for that road course, not for potholes. You have the same steering components. Isn't that interesting? That's where they do a lot of testing, is on the racetracks. The suspension and steering components, the setup. Our road vehicles have the same setup, except you're not driving on a smooth racetrack that has no potholes, no man covers, no train tracks. So stick around. I'm not going to go on forever on this topic, because they're all wear and tear items. Everything in the suspension and steering up front is subject to road conditions, driving habits, and wear and tear. Nothing is really lubable. Nothing anymore. So when the grease wears out inside the component as it's manufactured, the grease is worn out. It means it goes hard, not really hard, but it goes to the point where the grease is crumbly and there's no lubrication there anymore. And that's what we're seeing happen. And in a lot of cases, the grease will move off to one side, leaving the opposite side. It's not getting any grease. And this is the problem. So a lot of suspension and steering components now are using what they call gusher bearings, so that when the component is created, the grease is all the way around the ball and socket. So you'll see what that is. If you can't visualize that right now, the ball and socket, the YouTube short that will come out today, you'll see that, the ball and socket, and what it looks like when it's worn out, and they come apart. That's what happens. They break, they come apart, and then your steering goes free. It's free, and you can't steer it. The car's looking after it, and it's scary. So we want to pay, the short end of this story is, we want to pay closer attention to the potholes, to the bumpy sections of the road that you drive every day. Change lanes. That's what I do. I'll slow down and get out of that lane. It's why? It's my suspension and steering. It's going to be my back, my parts, my time to put it all back together. And when you're done, you got to take it for an alignment, and there's another couple of $100. It's all money. So the more we understand about suspension and steering, and they are wear and tear items. Again, they're wear and tear items. So if the sales guy's saying, oh no, that stuff's maintenance free. No, it's definitely not maintenance free, buddy. Definitely not. Yeah. Wear and tear items. That's what happens to them. Sway bar links, wear and tear items. Tie rod ends, wear and tear items. McPherson struts, they don't last forever. You get longer life out of the imports, not so much out of the domestics, just so you know. There's a difference there. And this is where quality needs to change on behalf of the domestics. It's time to start giving the consumer their money's worth. Yeah. Price of goods does not reflect the quality of the goods being sold. Period. So till tomorrow, Make it a great Monday morning. It's a short week this week for many of you. And we'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for another Motormouth Morning Drive. Enjoy your day. Don't let anyone mess it up. It's Monday. It's a brand new week. Keep smiling. Happy, healthy motoring. Peace, patience, and kindness always. And thank you to all our program partners and to you, our loyal listeners and watchers that join us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Stevensvilleontheweb.ca. And thank you to all of you who make the effort to grab some Motormouth Car Connection merch and know that you're joining our crew in the battle against addiction. Thank you so, so much. From Skippy and I, we love you all. We'll see you in the next one. Keep an eye on the roadways and keep it under 100. We'll see you in a bit. Bye for now.